What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Trick Tennis. Today, we're going to be working on a Tracker Grizzly 1448. It's a 2018 model. It does have the short transom on it. It's a 15-inch transom. This boat belongs to a guy named Paul. He is a big fan of the channel. He stopped by, dropped the boat off. We talked about it, and I'm going to hook him up with a bunch of metalwork in here. Now, we're going to build out this back deck area right here. It's going to be a little different because the kits that I sell are made for the 20-inch transom. This having the 15-inch transom makes it a little bit different. And the reason that the 15-inch transom doesn't work with the kit is because this actually sits lower than the bench. So you don't have room to install the kit the way I normally do. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do this one. I'm probably going to end up having to cut it short and then put some type of a filler piece in here or something. That's something I'm not really looking forward to. The second thing about this project that I'm really not looking forward to is that this back bench is full of foam, and so are these corner pods, and he wants me to get it all out of there. So I'm going to be digging out all of the foam. It's not only in the bench seat, but in both of these side panel pods. We're going to put like a face plate on top of those that's removable, but not going to be fun. Now, the boat itself, it's in pretty good shape. Trailer, it's huge. He modified a obviously a lot bigger trailer than what he probably needs for this boat to make it work. It's all right, but this thing has a freaking tongue on it. It's sticking outside the door over there. A little bit of a pain in the butt when you're trying to put this thing up inside of the garage because the tongue is so freaking long. I'm gonna turn this camera around, walk around this boat a couple times, and then we're gonna get right into it. All right, here we go, guys. A 2018 1448 Tracker Grizzly. Now, he said that one of his buddies installed this transducer, and I don't know why he thought it would be a good idea to put it right there. I mean, he said that it doesn't hit his motor, but it's got to have interference from the motor. That's probably one of the dumbest transducer installs I've ever seen in my entire life. But we are going to be removing this, and I'm going to weld him a puck over here. We're going to weld this over here and get that thing moved for him. Obviously, we're going to build this back transom hatch like I was talking about. I'm going to build a bench kit and drop 2 hatches, 20 by 20s into here. Then he'll have the 3 hatches in his back area. That's going to be a majority of the work. Then up here, we're going to extend this deck. I'm going to bring this back, I don't know, roughly 20 inches, maybe something like that. I'm going to put a hatch on this side and then one big hatch on that side. That way he'll have a decent amount of storage for all his tackle, and he'll still be able to reach up underneath this hole in the front and have excess in there. Then we're going to cut a hole for a recessed foot pedal tray, get that thing installed. He does want a dual graph bridge. He's got another Lowrance graph that he's going to be bringing me. And that's pretty much going to wrap up all the metal work besides some repairs. Now, he does have a lot of little holes in here. I mean, this boat's used. Obviously, he bought it used, and he doesn't like these. So what we're going to do is clean these up, and we're going to weld all these little pinholes up for him. We might even weld these holes up over here. I'm definitely going to get rid of this thing. This is, yeah, it's something. I don't know why you would need to have that little old Lowrance fish finder sitting up on that thing. But yeah, we're definitely going to get rid of that thing because it's just ugly looking. So, but it's going to be sweet though when we get done with it. Lots of metal work going into this one. But look how big this trailer is. This thing is humongous. You can probably put a 20-foot boat on this thing. It's been altered. He was talking about he's probably going to get a new one. I mean, it works for now, I guess, but geez. Somebody spliced this thing together. You can see down here, the main axle's got plates on it. It's been welded here, so yeah. It's a pretty cool looking trailer on the back portion of it, but it's way too big for this boat. It does have some rollers on top of the bunk boards, which isn't bad. I mean, it's pretty cool. I think it's a good idea. As long as you don't unstrap the winch eye before you get this thing backed up into the water, because it's going to fly off of there. But the only issue I have with the trailer, really, my opinion, is it's sitting so high up off the ground. I wouldn't like that. It would be hard to launch it in places that have a short boat ramp. Not every boat ramp that you go to is long and That would be the only downside or issue I think I'd have with it. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put you guys back on the hyperlapse. I'm gonna go ahead and make my two 20 by 20 cutouts in here and start removing some of this foam. Then we'll start framing this front deck and getting this stuff going. Let's get to work. All right, so we're about an hour into the project. We got both hatch holes cut, and we got about half of the foam dug out of here. Had my homeboy Mangus help me out with this one. This foam sucks, man. It's not wet. Surprisingly, we haven't hit any wet foam yet. I have reached the bottom over here. It's not wet, but you know, that doesn't mean that it's not wet up underneath some of these other spots. I got a good feeling we'll find some wet spots before it's all said and done. I'm gonna grab some lunch, and then we're gonna get right back at it. All right, so we got 99.9% of the foam out of there, and man, I tell you, this tracker foam is the worst. I know I've said it a million times, but I think I would rather field goal kick a damn trailer hitch than have to dig this foam out of here again. Now I still gotta come back and clean up a little bit more. Obviously, we gotta put our floor pieces in here. It's all part of the back bench kit, but I gotta take a break from this. Mangus has had enough of it too. His first go around with foam, and oh, it was a good one. The tracker foam, spot on. It did not disappoint at all in the difficulty level of taking it out of there. Now, what we're gonna do is shift gears. I'm gonna put this front deck framing in here. Now, the way I do this is very simple. Extend this deck off of here. It's something that I can send you these pieces and you can just rivet this stuff together. I mean, we're gonna weld it because that's what we do, but you can start this build the same way. Now I got some pieces that are gonna go on to either side of the port and starboard sidewall that's already existing. See how this piece is, you know, it's at an angle. It's not 90 degrees. So this is a special piece that I have to make. It's 3 inches by 1.5 inches. And that 3-inch lip is gonna go vertically up the wall and rivet in. And what that's gonna do is give us an 1.5 inch flange on this side. It's gonna be for the hatch that's gonna go into this area right here. Now, we need to have an 1.5 inches all the way around, all 4 sides. Very simple. We're gonna start with an 1.5 inches by 1/8 aluminum angle right here, come up and back off the deck, shoot your rivets into the existing deck, put the piece on the side that I'm making this a 3-inch by 1.5 inches, rivet that one in, and then across the face. We're gonna put another 1.5 inches by 1/8 inch aluminum angle, and that one's gonna sit the opposite direction. That way we drop our hatches in and it meets up flush with the deck and meets up flush with the outside of this angle. Then I'll put another angle on the floor, and then I have a place to attach my sheet in the front. And I'll probably run like maybe 2 vertical supports from the new deck down to the floor. That's it. Then just drop your hatches in. You guys can do this. I can sell you kits like this. I can't build the entire kit and weld it out for you because it's just too many variables. These trackers, they move just a little bit, and you know, then what I put in there doesn't fit. I don't want to deal with that. You can do this. If you want one of these kits, let me know because I have faith in you. I'm covered in foam, so I'm gonna go hit myself with the air compressor, blow some of this stuff off me, try to wash my face off and rinse it out of my eyeballs, and then we'll get back to work. All right, so day one is complete. Not too bad for one day. Still got a little bit of foam to clean up in here, but tomorrow I'm gonna build the rest of all these hatches. Got this front deck framing all done. Turned out pretty good. Have not attached this sheet yet. The last thing I did, I just cut that. But you can see how our framework turned out. Everything's welded solid. We will have a divider wall over there to separate these two compartments. Pretty simple. 2 hatches drop in. I'm gonna build 2 custom hatches here, small one and a big one. That one's like 16 by 16. This one is like 16 by 36. These back 2, already cut the frames for those. They're 20 by 20s. That's part of the tracker kit, so I try to keep those in stock. And then the transom kit, I gotta build that tomorrow too. I'm gonna install my leveler pieces up here, make this nice and flat and run out. Since this is a short transom, I'm probably gonna end up stopping it short a little bit. Maybe like right here, and then building like a little transition piece. I'll figure that out in the morning, but I think it looks pretty good for day one. Big shout out to Mangus for helping me, because that foam was a nightmare to get out of there. I did not want to do that by myself. We'll pick up in the morning. All right, so check it out. I got these hatches built for the back bench and the 2 that are going in here. I'm getting ready to cut that hole for the recessed foot pedal in just a second. These all have drain tubes in them already, ready to go. I have a small one here, big one there. And then these back 2. Now, I'm changing something up, because what I realized with this new tracker transom kit is that you need this 1.5 inch here for the flange of the actual hatch for the back to sit on. Well, we cut these out at 20 by 20. This hatch is 19 by 19. We can make this fit in here, but you can see if you bring this back to the edge of that 20, then you don't have any room. So I'm gonna modify this one a little bit to make it work, but all the new bench kits are gonna start coming with a 19 by 19 hatch. That will allow you to have enough play for the flange for the back hatch. Looks pretty dope though. I'm gonna get these 4 off to the powder coaters, and I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna do this one, because this one's gonna be a little tricky, but I'm gonna send that one to the powder coaters probably tomorrow. Try to finish that up today. But I do wanna go ahead and cut out this hole for this recessed foot pedal tray. I'm gonna install this sheet on the face, permanent, and then I'll get the rest of these hatches back and try to wrap this thing up. Let's get back to work. Check it out. I cut these holes in here, and I left a flange around here. That way I can put a sheet over it and put some screws in it and have a removable access panel. I got all the foam out of there. I got the foam out of these 2 compartments, both sides of these pods. And the reason for that is because that allows them to put holes up through here with grommets, and we can pass wires up through between here. I mean, without this being open, then you're forced to run your wires out of here. And if you want to do a bilge pump, then your bilge pump hose has to come up over the top or through the transom. Now this allows you to run the bilge up through here, out through that panel, and out the side right here. Now that that's done, I got to figure out this back hatch right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my 2 side leveler pieces on and start framing out for this hatch. All right, so check it out. I got one of these leveler pieces put in here. Now obviously this whole back area is different because this is a short shaft transom, but the way that you're going to figure this out, you take your tape measure, you can measure distances from here to here, and you want to make sure that you have the same distance obviously going in there. That way when you drop this hatch in, it's flat. Now with this being the short transom, this comes down at a dramatic angle and it throws a wrench into this panel. This is normally 19 inches, goes all the way back to the transom. You can't do that with this one because, as you can see, this corner cap drops down and it almost touches, super close to it. So what I did was I just put a notch in here. I put this piece in here, I cut it down to 16.5. That was my longest point from right here to where the bench starts. Then I came back and I set it up underneath there, tried to raise it up to get to the correct height. Well, it wouldn't go up any higher because it was hitting on this piece. So what I did was I just put a mark on it, came back, cut it out like a V. I didn't even cut it. I just used a grinder and I ground it up and then back from both sides just with the grinder. And that allows it to sit up where it needs to be. Now, these kits come with some extra spacers. These are just pieces of 1/8 inch aluminum. And what we're going to do with these, we're going to stack these up like that. And we'll come back and shoot a couple rivets through here. And that way you can put an extra one on or take one off or whatever you need to do to figure out the correct height. And that's going to be the support for this. Now, this piece is 1/8 inch aluminum. This is thick. It's not thin stuff, so it doesn't need a whole lot of support. This is a small area over here. But with these, it allows you to go ahead and install them, and then you can bring this over and just mark where they're going to be at. And drop it in, shoot your rivets up through the face, and then down through that piece that you just put in there. It'll make this thing strong. I'm probably going to come back and throw a couple of tacks in here just because I'm a welder, but if you can't weld, that is exactly how you can install that thing, and it will be perfectly fine like that. Because once you come back and drop the hatch in, then you have the hatch track frame that's going to sit around here, and it's going to make it strong. So I'm going to go ahead and get this installed. I got to get the other one finished up. Then we'll get some framing done in here, and we'll circle back. Let's get back to work. All right, we got this back area framed in. Both our leveler pieces are on here, welding them up. Now I welded this 1.5 inch angle up here from the top. Also came back and welded it up underneath the bottom on both sides. And that ends up giving us 15 inches by 43 inches of space for a hatch. So it's a good size hatch. I am gonna have to come back and do some type of a finished piece in here. I'll break a little angle or something just to close this up. I'll leave a gap in the center. Now he is getting a jack plate out back here, and that's gonna work out good because this is gonna be tight quarters for him to try to hang a motor in here, but I mean, he probably could if he really had to. Look at that sun coming in here, man. Every day, this time of day, afternoon, it's about 4 o'clock now. That sucker comes all the way back to the back wall here, and it's just hot, man. I mean, it's not even hot outside, but that sun is enough to just toast you. It's really bad during the summertime, and that's my only door in here, so I don't really want to close it up. But something pretty cool we're doing is I'm about to open this wall up. This wall right here goes way back. It's got my break room behind it. I'll show you guys this. You might have seen this in some of the previous videos. I cut a lot of turf in here, but look. So that wall, we're gonna take all the way back to there. I'll close this entryway up right here. I'll leave that door and this wall, but that will give me all that room back there going back. It's like another 20 feet, and I'll be able to continue this table on and have more room. I can technically fit 2 boats in here. I have a lot more space, but anyways, back to what we were talking about. This thing turned out good. It was a little bit of work because I mean, the transom just really makes it different. And this one actually tapered a lot. This side over here is 13 inches tall, and that side over there, it's only like 12 1/4. So we got 3/4 of an inch difference in there. I don't think you're really gonna be able to tell once we get everything finished up, but yeah, that stock back bench is almost 3/4 of an inch difference from one side to the other. But now I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get this hatch track frame made and try to get this one done. I am gonna have to alter it up here a little bit, probably cut it down to 1 inch because we don't have a lot of room right there, and you know, I gotta make that work. So I'll get that frame and I'll get the hatch lid made for it, and then we'll circle back. I'll show you guys where we're at. Let's go back to work. All right, so I got the hatch made, and it looks really good. Turned out nice. Stiffener in there. It's perfect. I'm gonna come back with short pieces here and leave him, you know, this gap in the center right here for his gas and transducer cable. But look, this is what I'm gonna do with this now. I got these hatches. These are already powder coated. I did feel like taking them out of the wrapper, but they still fit into the holes.
Well, instead of sliding them forward, I could probably steal a 1/2 inch out of it, but I don't really think we need to. So what it is, I just dropped it on top of this hatch. I just trace it. See what I did here? So I'm just going to cut that like 1/2 inch or 3/4 out on both sides. I'll leave the center the way it is. I can put 3 rivets in here, and I can squeeze 2 more in here. They're going to be tight, but they'll fit in there. And then the rest of this is fine. So I'm going to get this cut out and drill all the holes in here for mounting this. I'm going to take this one off to the powder coaters. But I just want to show you guys how I'm going to cut that out and make that work. Now, if you want to get one of these kits, I'm going to make these 19 by 19. You're not going to have to worry about that. But, you know, if you cut your hole in the wrong spot, that's an easy fix you can do right there. Everything will work out perfect. Let's get back to work.
Your shadow stretching on the floor while the sun gets low. I got a feeling that the glow deep inside my core needs to breathe to flow. We push it right on through. I know you need it too, because we have been working hard right from the very start. Who knew we'd get this far? But now it's time for us to stay out until it's late. We've come a long, long way, so we deserve it, mate. Call it a day and celebrate. Let's celebrate. Call it a day. Let's celebrate. Call it a day and celebrate. Let's celebrate. Call it a day. Let's celebrate. Call it a day. No obstacles that we faced did ever slow us down. We knew we'd get here, went the extra mile in every race. We are duty bound. We push it right on through. I know you need it too, because we have been working hard right from the very start. Who knew we'd get this far? But now it's time for us to stay out until
All right, so check it out. This is how I'm going to finish off this back area right here. Stupid simple. It's just a piece of 1.5 by 2.5, and I cut it on that angle. The way I can fit it up in there like that, and I can come back and rivet through this angle to hold that in place. And I'm probably going to come back and just throw a couple welds across here on both sides. That will finish up this back area. Only thing I have to do back here is put the panels up here and screw those in. I did install the floor pieces that come with the bench kit. Lots of storage space inside of there. Went ahead and installed this faceplate here. I put a small layer of silicone across the top of this just to help keep the water out of it. It drips down in there until he gets it covered with turf or whatever. You got a divider inside of here. Still got access in that front deck from there. And I did go ahead and cut a hole for his recessed foot pedal tray. I got that dropped in, haven't installed that yet. A couple little things I got left to do is finish up some of this wiring. I'm going to pull this back through. This is for the graph that was up here on this little pole. I'm going to weld this up solid, weld up some of these holes over here for him. I'm going to mount that graph on the VersaTrack system, kind of kicking off on a little L bracket over here. And he's got another graph that's going up here, Lowrance 12. He's got the Ghost trolling motor, and he's got the active target system, but he's going to hook that up himself. And once I get this stuff figured up, then hopefully these hatches will be back from the powder coaters, and we'll get this project wrapped up very shortly. I do still have to do this transducer back here. That is the dumbest transducer install on the face of the earth. So I'm going to take that off, weld up those holes, weld them a little puck over here on the side, remount that, and I'll run this up here. I'm also going to make him a battery tray for all his batteries right up underneath here. So I'm going to get that made too. Put you guys back in the hyperlapse, and we'll circle back and we'll finish everything up and see what we got. All right, guys, she's done. Thing turned out sick. I don't know if you guys noticed, but old Austin came back. He's going to help me out with another project. We just wrapped this one up. We got a Polar Craft we're getting ready to start building. But this whole back deck, this thing looks really good, right? I mean, it turned out sick. The color of the powder coat is very close to the tracker color. Not quite perfect, but I mean, it's pretty damn close. The way I did this turned out really cool. It looks nice and aggressive. All these handles are the custom key lock compression style. You can see how they suck in. Keep the rattle out of these things. I've got removable access panel, port and starboard. And it's got a drain tube in there. All the hatches have drain tubes in them. Gives them a lot of room back here now. He's got somebody in the back. They actually have a place where they can walk and stand. And this guy's old. He's 80 years old. So I want to make sure that he's comfortable up here on the deck of this boat. And this is our bench kit. We got these hatches installed, the two 20 by 20s. Got his batteries up in there, and he's still got a lot of storage on either side of that. That's good storage there. Both sides, same with that. And I did build this little bracket right here. Now, this is kind of cool. It's basically just a piece of 3/16 aluminum angle. And I put the holes in there and those little knobs. That way you can use the VersaTrack system. He can slide this wherever he wants. Now, it was a pain in the ass fishing these wires through here. I told him originally I was just going to bring them up here and run them back. But once I drilled a hole through the front of this bench in here, there was no foam for like 6 inches. So I was like, screw it. I'm going to try to just ram enough of this foam out of here so that I can run these cables, and made it happen. It wasn't easy, but it looks a whole lot cleaner like that. I'm pumped. He's going to be real happy about that. Then we got a front deck. Yeah, it turned out good. Came back about 19 inches. Got a big storage hatch here. And then he's got the big one in the middle. And that one gives him access to his original storage up in the front too. That's a big hatch though. I mean, you could fit a cooler in there and a tackle box. He's got these seats that kind of match the whole thing too. So colorway of it's pretty neat looking. I did install the recessed foot pedal tray, and I put a hole in here with a grommet. That way he can run his cables up here for fish finders or whatever he needs to run in there, power for the foot pedal. I don't know how he's going to hook it up or what he's going to get. I think he's got a Lowrance Ghost trolling motor. So he's got another 12-inch graph he's going to put up here. This thing turned out sick. Got through bolts in it. Ain't going nowhere. I went ahead and welded up a bunch of these little holes he's got up here. So get him a can of touch-up paint from Tracker, and he could send this thing just like it sits. Pretty cool little project there. All right, guys, so that's another one in the books. Tracker Grizzly 1448. If you guys are interested in any of these kits that I have for these trackers, just send me an email at professionalwelding@gmail.com. I can custom fit them to any boat that you have. Just need a little bit of information like the bench width, and mainly for a bench kit, that's it. We can try to figure out some type of transom kit for you if you want to do that. I'll help you out any way I can. This build turned out pretty sick though. I like the color of it a lot, being the whole thing's like a OD green color. Right up my alley. I think it looks dope. The seats on it are pretty cool. The guy that owns this boat is 80 years old, and I talked to him yesterday. I told him, I'm almost done with your boat, and he was like, yes, please, I'd love to get my boat back soon because I feel like my fishing days are numbered. Man, that hit home. I feel like I'm getting old too quick anyways, so that just kind of put it all into reality that his fishing days are numbered. I don't like to think like that, but this guy's gonna have a sweet little rig. And I hope that we get this thing back on the channel. I'd really like to help him out and put some turf in here, maybe help him with his electronics. I don't know. He's got a buddy who's gonna help him with some of this stuff. And I hope that they get this thing done quick so he can get out on the water and do some fishing before it gets too cold. Because winter is here and it's getting pretty cold out here. Anyways, guys, I got Austin back with me. We got another boat sitting outside. I'm about to wheel this one out, wheel that one in, and we're gonna make some magic happen. I appreciate you guys watching. Hit that like, subscribe button, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this build. I'll see you guys in the next one. Let's get back to work.